and Mercer Show with Richard Masso. Our hosts and their guests are here to talk about comics, movies, random topics, and everything in between. Now, here's your hosts, Ryan and Richard.
The Oppenheimer Projects.
We did it.
What are you listening to?
You can hear my music?
Yeah.
I'm listening to the first song from Tick Tick Boom. Alexa, stop.
Oh, I want to see it. I told you I opted for 21 Bridges instead.
How was that?
You know what? And Monica and I said the same thing, and I'm sure you would have known right off the bat. Cop, good cop, crooked cops, same thing. Finds out, shootout at the end.
And this is Chadwick?
Yeah, Chadwick, was great as always. You know how he definitely was one of those actors where it's like, this is a regular cop movie and all the weight's on your shoulders, so it's not terrible and you can tolerate it and you enjoyed it somewhat. That's what it was.
Okay. Yeah, so I don't remember. Sorry, maybe.
No, go ahead.
I don't remember any. I don't remember any like huge news like it didn't blow up the world. Like it wasn't such a great movie that it kind of came and went. Yeah.
I was just gonna say this is the show where we forget every single actor's name.
Mm-hmm.
If Richard and I were talking, face to face, we would be bing, 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 bing. But then the second we go live, it's like, what was his name? Leonardo DiCaprio. That's it.
That's the guy.
So I mean, a lot has happened. Maybe not a lot, but it just took 1 2-minute trailer to shake up the comic book universe. A long-awaited trailer, right? And I think we kind of all got what we were like expecting, like through the woodworks. We had heard a few things as far as villains and stuff.
Yeah, I set my expectations. I think we'll have this be the bookend of our discussion. I set my expectations maybe a little too high.
Really? So, I kind of feel like that was a thing, yeah.
And so, so I was really like Googling what time because I was like, we had talked last Monday about, I'll watch it in school. And it didn't come out till 8:30 on Tuesday night. And so at that point, I was like, this is going to be amazing. And I was like, I should film Shanna's reaction, because like when she sees Toby show up, she's going to blow,
yeah.
And so that's what I was waiting for. I was waiting for that moment, like right at the end of the thing. And I was sitting there like, and I wish I had filmed it because I came across like such a fanboy because I was like, here it is. Here. I was just like, here, wait. And then it was like, no, this is where Toby reaches in and says, hey, I'm here. Like, Andrew Garfield pops like yeah.
He was like, what did Strange say? He's like, here they all come or something like that. And then you were like,
this is
and
it.
You're like, ah.
But again, it could have just been, I mean, listen, the pop, we call the pop, the noise in the theater, if they're in it and they show up, will be really cool to see. Like we got to work hard to get in and see that first weekend. Like, maybe take off.
Do that.
I won't take off on Friday. Oh shoot! I think that Friday is when I'm supposed to get my.
Yeah, but see, they don't play fair anymore, right? Because it used to be that you had to go on Thursday night for Friday. Now they push it to like Wednesday or Tuesday. Like it's not fair
really
anymore.
Don't. Yeah, they really don't. Yeah, and so
and they don't tell you. They don't tell you. Like, what was it? Batman versus Superman. Monica was like, "Oh yeah, new boyfriend. I got him tickets.
Right.
We're seeing Batman at 11 p.m. on Thursday. Whatever." We get there and there was like an 8 a.m. showing, and I was like not mad at her, obviously.
No, right.
Like, what the? She's like, I didn't know. And they do that. They sneak it up on you. Like crazy like that. So I imagine that we'll share the trailer after we get through the news. And if anything happens, Richard will just come back in. But we've been lucky with that.
I was going to say, here's the thing. And I'll just come back in. Did you look at the news for the week?
Huh?
Did you look at my news for the week?
I did.
Okay. All right. Box office. Box office this week. I realize... I think I copy what I hear other news people do, and I'm realizing, normally when you do a list, like if we do our top 5 Christmas lists, we'll start with number 5.
Yeah.
But every week when I read I always start with number 1. I guess that's just, maybe there's not a surprise on who number 1 will be, but I'm going to start with number 5, Dune, 3.1 million.
Really hanging in there.
Yep. And fourth place was King Richard, 5.7 million. The I think both Dune and King Richard are available on HBO Max. So still decent numbers for. And it's one of those things. I've had a couple people I've seen on Facebook who are like, I just went to see Dune or just went to see King Richard. I'm like, why aren't you just watching it at home? But they might not have HBO Max and they might just want to get out and see a movie.
Weird thing, real quick. I heard that you have to see Dune in theaters, like simply because of like the what's the Oscar for when it's for the noise sound mixing?
Oh yeah, sure.
Audio.
Sure.
I heard that it's incredible. That's what I heard. I heard like it makes a big difference.
Check that. Third place, Clifford hanging on.
He came in there.
Yeah, I mean, listen, what's he going to do? He had to do something, right? I mean, he had to.
They only pushed his movie back like 3 times.
Right. It's not. Yeah, I was gonna say it's not James Bond or Top Gun level, but second place, Eternals with another about $11 million, and first place with $44 million, another delayed for about over a year, Ghostbusters Afterlife.
This one I have to figure out how to see. I want to see this one.
I'm seeing a lot of positive things.
Yeah.
The rotten tomato scores are high for it. So, listen, every week I'm the left. I mean, we're both very middle, but I'm way. I'm sorry. Can we restart? Can you? Can you? And
it's in the old days, Richard. We can't edit it out.
No, yeah. Sorry. Yeah, I grew up in this business. I cut my teeth in this business where you just recorded the podcast, and then this guy during the pandemic would just stay up till 3 a.m. editing it. But then he got a job. So.
then he had to go back to work.
Right. But again, I also hate I was like, oh, that's once we go live, I'll just I'm first take Richard. I can get this. Just happened to forget what in the world I was talking about. So yeah, we're just gonna jump from there. You were talking about sound mixing in Dune.
Yeah, Oscar worthy apparently.
Yeah, and then I started to say something.
And then Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters, that's it.
And then maybe we'll put a vote on Ghostbusters. Also, right, son of Ivan Reitman, who is known for the original Ghostbusters films. Just lots of feels attached. Let's just put it that way, right? And that's what I keep seeing. Like Saturday was Harold Ramis's would have been 77th birthday, so just lots of feels attached. So really,
and unfortunately, Dan Aykroyd's brother passed away this weekend.
I saw that. Yeah,
so just a lot. The remark I stumbled over earlier was that I often will talk about certain things, and I was very frustrated with how the 2016 Ghostbusters went down with the general backlash because they were doing an all-female reboot, and they decided to not really link it to the Ghostbusters universe. They had some cameos, but nobody was playing who they were supposed to play, and so this one is. Again, whenever we talk about our franchises, this is one that has made the fanboys happy, and I'm trying to kind of reconcile that, without being too defensive of Melissa McCarthy and the gang, and just being like, let them enjoy it. But the person who's like, I'm weeping like a child having seen this. I hope you weren't hating on the ladies for trying. So again, a long-winded way to say. Yes, I see a lot of people excited about it. Again, because they did what you should do, which is a proper sequel. So.
I just want to say one more thing, and then I'll let it go. And you know that I'm big on the trailers, and I know you know what I'm talking about when you talk about nostalgia and they hit the notes. And the first trailer, it was just like, oh, where's these kids? And it's like, oh, who you related?
Yeah,
for?
It was strange. It was Stranger Things, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and then you hear the and you're like, oh, let's go, and you started to get the nostalgia. So I know, like I said, just lots of feels. Looking forward to figuring out how to get a sitter to see this one because I think we're pretty booked this week.
Yeah, no, right, exactly. That's what's the kicker is you have to find.
It's not on HBO Max,
right?
The hell,
right? We go from 6 months ago, this is ridiculous. This is ruining the industry, and now it's oh no, why is it not on? Yeah, why is it not? I can't rent it right now for the $20. Okay. All right. And our only other news story, and it's more of a question piece. Are you Ryan? Are you
Yeah.
jealous of Lillian at all?
My dog or the former dog?
The former dog. Now, it was in your. Oh, so this dog was in your life.
I've never told you this story.
No. This dog's. So this is not a young dog.
Okay, so strap in, folks. So this dog was originally Monica's dog, and Monica bought this dog's little blankets and loved it. And I remember she used to sing to it, and I used to just kind of be like, okay, right, whatever. I like this girl. She's pretty hot, so I want to stay with her. So I love the dog too, right? Whatever.
Yeah, it's a fair choice.
Then we had kids, and this dog literally got so jealous that she would rip her hair out, like bite and rip her hair out. She would spite pee, right? So one night while we're all having dinner, Jade's there. Monica's very, very pregnant with the twins. We're having a great dinner. Alexis is there. We're laughing, this and that. And like literally like the movies, we're all like, ha, 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 ha. And then Monica goes like this, ha. What the hell did I just step in? And she backs up and the dog had taken a piss. And Monica was like, get that dog out of this house right now, or I swear to God, I'm driving her to the shelter. Now, Monica had been talking about this, right? Like, Monica's not a dog hater. We've been trying to give the dog to somebody that would want her. And my mom kept saying, like, oh, yeah, but it's not the time. It's not the time. I called my mom and I was like, Mom, this is the time. I literally said that. I was like, this is the time, or I'm going to have to take her to the shelter. My mom was like, all right, just grab her food in her bowls. And Alexis and I literally drove the dog to my mom's house, and it's been like that ever since. So,
okay.
Yeah, it was.
So it's not an old dog.
No. I'm not jealous, but I'm sure Lillian is eating well. I'm sure.
Yeah, no, I just I see Dr. Mom post a lot of pictures and stuff of Lillian, and it's like is the dog going after your inheritance? Is this something that it's going to be like one of those things where you have to take the dog to court? Is that what's going to happen here?
Well, I heard they take away your Jewish lady card if you don't have a little dog with you at all times.
So that's fair. So that is really interesting because again, I did not hear that story and I based it off just like, all right, yeah, it's just a mom with a dog and and then so when Jade goes there to grandmom's this weekend, how does Lillian treat her?
They're fine.
They're fine now.
James doesn't like dogs.
I mean,
it's weird. We're working on
it. Let's put that down as this is a little bit of a shock.
Yeah, we got we actually have a video that Monica and I play like just to crack up when we need to, where she's filming the boys outside on the deck just playing in the summer, and you hear like a har, har in the background, like obviously 4 houses down, and James noticeably goes like this.
Yeah.
He does not like dogs, so we're working on it. We are working on it.
Yeah, that's a tough one, and I'm guessing Axe just stares and doesn't care.
Yeah, it literally, that's like dead on. That's what Axe does. You just like,
he's like, listen, you've named me Axe. I've got to keep it real. So we were talking about Spider-Man before I rudely interrupt you with questions about your dog lineage and your family.
You're fine.
All
so
right.
I mean, this is the part where they say run the tape, right?
Yeah, run the tape, and let's see. And then I was gonna say we have to have a listener who tells me I'm robotic, and then we'll find out.
All right. So wait, this is.
Don't show the old one because our fans
this looks like trailer 1.
Our fans will lose it if we show the old trailer.
All right, no, I think this is it.
Okay.
All right, here we go. Sorry, everyone.
No, yeah, I was gonna say that was too much dead air.
I haven't been driving. Here we go. Ready? Here we go.
And action. There.
Ever since I got bit by that spider, I've only had 1 week where my life has felt normal. That was when you found out.
When you botched that spell where you wanted everyone to forget the Peter Parker Spider-Man, we started getting some visitors. From every universe.
Hello, Peter. You're not Peter Parker.
I'm sorry, what was your name again?
Dr. Otto Octavius.
Wait, no, seriously, what's your actual name?
There are others out there. We need to send them back. So, Scooby-Doo this crap.
You know, all this is kind of your mess. I know a couple of magic words myself, starting with the word please.
Please, Scooby-Doo this crap.
You're flying out into the darkness to fight ghosts.
What do you mean?
They all die fighting Spider-Man. It's their fate. I'm sorry, kid.
Yeah, me too.
Don't.
Look, there has to be another way.
There isn't. They're a danger to our universe.
You're not gonna take this away from me. Peter, you're struggling to have everything you want while the world tries to make you choose.
This is all my fault. I can't save everyone. What's happening?
They're starting to come through, and I can't stop them.
December 17th, exclusively in movie theaters. Tickets on sale November 29th. Spider Monday.
Spider Monday.
Wait a minute.
Spider Monday.
Wait a minute. This movie comes out this Friday?
No, December 17th.
I'm sorry, December. Oh, wait. Tickets go on sale Friday.
Right. Tickets go on sale Monday, November 29th.
Wait. Okay, I'm all jacked up on the times. I'm sorry.
Yeah. It happens to the best of us.
So I just want to say, first thing I noticed that really stuck out to me, and it's one thing that, and I'm probably sure you've seen it as well. It looks like Peter is going to try to change the course of history, at least in his timeline, with the good old leap of faith that he took in The Amazing Spider-Man 2 and was not successful. That's something that stood out to me. Overall, pretty excited. Where are you at?
Well, that's, you just hit on the point I was going to make, and that's where the rumor mill is that's where Andrew Garfield shows up, and he's the one, because he's the he's the Spider-Man who let Gwen, I'm sorry, he let his his Gwen, he had a Gwen, he had his let Gwen die, so that's the idea, is that he comes in time to save her, which would be a cool little homage to his Spider-Man.
Yeah. So, I mean, we're getting ahead of ourselves, because Richard and I said that we wanted to take a little bit of a trip down memory lane, and I do see that he has some notes here as well. But Richard, I mean, anybody who's paid attention to Spider-Man on the movie level, the filming level, it is the rights level. It's just been a complete roller coaster for this one single character, right?
Yeah, even going back to the 70s, if you get a chance on Disney Plus, any of our listeners on Disney Plus, there's a great documentary about the Japanese Spider-Man and how,
I saw that last night.
Yeah, and how they did not, Spider-Man was not marketable, in the world of Wonder Woman in the 70s, the Hulk, they were able to sell them in Japan, but so there was this Japanese cartoon, and of course in Japan, sorry to say, of course, for those of you who it's not obvious to, like, you have to have a robot and a giant robot, and so Spider-Man would always jump into his giant robot to fight at the end of each episode,
like Power Rangers.
Just like Power Rangers. Yep, just like Power Rangers. Which, again, watching Power Rangers and some other shows growing up, I was like, oh, what a neat concept. No, it's a concept that was so old, and that's all, not knowing Japanese pop culture at the time. But we only saw Spider-Man in cartoon form over here in the States. He never quite got anything real, substantive. For my memory, not just going on history, in the 90s when I was in college, I remember seeing, like, James Cameron, Terminator 2 guy is going to do Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And then it was the Titanic guy's going to do Spider-Man, and that's when you started to feel like, all right, this is going to happen. And Leo was, the big young kid of the day, so Leo's going to be Spider-Man. And it made sense, like it didn't seem crazy, but, what we didn't have was the ability to actually have this be realistic. And again, and not to bore anyone, and also because I don't have the actual facts in front of me, but it was just never working out. Like getting the rights and figuring it out, and all this, Marvel in the late '90s was, as a comic book company, was going bankrupt, so they were starting to sell off their rights. And did you read the part about James Bond and Spider-Man and how they were connected?
I might have missed that part, but
that's when it came down to MGM and Sony were kind of like wound up trading Spider-Man for James Bond. Like Sony had James Bond and traded it back to.
Oh, that sounds right.
Yeah. So Sony got Spider-Man, and Sam Raimi attached Tobey Maguire, and the rest was history. And
and I'm seeing here, Spider-Man 1. I remember I got there on opening night. I did have tickets, but I just remember I had seen Episode 1, Star Wars Episode 1 opening night. I still have yet to see anything like Spider-Man opening night. We had a 24 theater near us, AMC 24. Everything was Spider-Man. Okay. Everything was sold out. The crowd was like a concert, right? Everybody was just waiting to see Spider-Man. And remember, that trend continued for 3 or 4 weeks, leading to the number that went into the billions, making it, I believe it was the most successful movie, right? Release of all time overall. And
that I'm not sure. I'm sure Star Wars was still pretty.
Yeah, but and if not the biggest movie, definitely the biggest comic book movie. I mean, and I think it took a while for anybody to catch up to that. I think it had to get to the Avengers for anyone to catch up to that. But, I mean, just completely changed the cinema game, completely changed the movie game. And it's been that way ever since. Spider-Man's, he's the guy, right? I mean, we have Iron Man, we have Captain America, we have Hulk, we have the Avengers, and Spidey came in late to that game. But still, even now, Spider-Man, just he's the dude, and the rights are all tangled up because nobody wants to let go. They want that piece of Spider-Man because Spider-Man is just super marketable, from the video games to the movies, the comic books, and all the craziness with the rights and all the turmoil with Spider-Man to the Amazing Spider-Man to somehow, I'm drawing a blank here. Our boy Miles Morales. What was that one called?
Into the Spider-Verse.
Into the Spider-Verse, and we're just still literally let's just say what it is. Let's just say how it is right now. Spider-Man is completely just confusing. Even to me, I had to kind of unravel the wires, if you will, getting ready for this podcast, and I'm still just where does the Into the Spider-Verse come in? Are we completely going with the Amazing Spider-Man? Why does Marvel want to bring the characters in here? Why would we connect the two universes?
I mean, again, I think the answer to your last question is Into the Spider-Verse. While it made the least amount of money of all the 8 Spider-Man films we're going to talk about,
still one of my favorites.
It's the Oscar winner. It's the critically acclaimed one. And again, it's the Rotten Tomato score. It's next to perfect. And I think and then they realized that, we can take this cartoon and we can make this into a movie. And we can fine tune it a little bit, and maybe it's just have all these villains come in from different universes. And so I think that's why they're deciding to do this, and also just knowing that the second it leaks, there's multiple Spider-Mans in this, all the nostalgia, because with all of James Bond and Star, there's different fans of the different actors and different people who've played them. There's Michael Keaton fans, there's Val Kilmer fans, there's a George Clooney fan or two, but the point I was trying to make is that, yes, the Andrew Garfield diehards, when they hear he's in the movie, will come out. The Toby, people will come out. So I'm one of the rare people who's not rare at all, unless, if you're of a certain age. But Tom Holland is absolutely my favorite Spider-Man. So, like, I'm okay with just him, but
yeah,
we'll see.
yeah. For me, and I don't know where you're at, as we back up a little bit, Spider-Man, the original trilogy, 1, loved it, right? Like we said, set the standard. 2, I remember being like, whoa, like, this is completely different, right? Like, because Spider-Man still had like that soft touch, like it was an action movie, it was a comic movie. And then Spider-Man 2, like Sam Raimi went back to his horror roots, like the scene in the hospital with Doc Ock trying to get the arms off, and like just literally next level sequel. And you were just like, wow, like this movie's incredible. I think we can all agree, kind of just fell off at 3, right? And then for me, the Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2 are actually my 2 favorites as far as live action Spider-Man goes. I thought Andrew Garfield did a great job. I thought it was a little bit darker, right? And I thought that it was all coming together very well. And I know Richard and anybody who's been following us knows that I keep mentioning the Paul Giamatti, and he's in the beginning of the Amazing Spider-Man 2. He's a bank robber. He's caught, and you're kind of just like, oh, that's Paul Giamatti, right? And at the end, he's in the rhino suit. He's wreaking havoc on New York City. We get a post-credit scenes in the Amazing Spider-Man 2. All these things are coming together. Like, okay, we're going to start seeing some more villains. The Vulture, Doc Ock, Green Goblin's already in there.
Electro,
then Electro. Then there was the Sinister Six, right? Where like this movie is going to happen, and then, as you and I know, and maybe most, some other people know, everything just completely fell apart. And then Marvel kind of, talked to Sony. There was some like one-offs, right? It wasn't even like, here's the rights. It's like, we're giving you a little bit, right? We're giving you
exactly,
string,
right.
Pull it.
He can come in. Then, he can appear in Civil War, and and then right. It was like, all right, your Iron Man can appear here a little, and then and then by Far From Home, he was, and then this will be the total Disney movie. This one.
What about you? Where are you at? Obviously, what did you think about the first trilogy, the second trilogy? I personally was upset when Sinister Six collapsed. I was looking forward to seeing more of that universe.
That was one with Sinister Six where when they would be like, we are not making another Andrew Garfield movie, but Sinister Six is happening. Like, I just remember how like they would always say that, like, we're not sure what's happening with Venom, but Sinister Six is happening. Because Jamie Foxx, I think, they were like, let's strike while the iron's hot. We can have all these people. So I'll run it down like you did. Number 1, again, was really good. It was really, really good. Yeah. And I was listening to your thoughts about it. The Superman was groundbreaking. Batman with Keaton kind of, gets the ball rolling, and then we deal with all the Batman of the 90s. And then the X-Men movie showed us like, oh, I realized my finger's on the screen. That's how, like, oh my God, that's how comic books are supposed to look on film. Like, that's what the X-Men did. And then Spider-Man came out and was pretty much on par with X-Men, except everybody knows who Spider-Man is. And that's what I think made it blow. Where it was X-Men, it was like, you had to tell people like, what is the story? No, just go watch it. Everyone knew, like, and that's the thing about Spider-Man is every kid, knows Spider-Man. Like, they had Spider-Man under ruse. They got the general idea of who Spider-Man was, and that blew up. I was trying to get Shannon to jump on or maybe she can just come in here. Can you come in here real quick, babe? I don't know. Yeah.
Hi, Shanna.
But because she will speak to it if she'll.
Shanna.
Listen them on your ears.
Yeah, Ken.
We can hear you. Hey, Shanna.
Hi, Ryan. How are you?
I'm fantastic. How are you? Thanks for jumping on.
No
What's
problem.
our biggest fan, ladies and gentlemen?
I don't have the biggest one, but yeah.
Shanna, Spider-Man. I mean, trilogies, literally 1 through 3. Where are you at?
I mainly called you in to speak about your experience with Spider-Man 1.
Spider-Man 1. What year was that?
2002.
2002. So Zachary was 5 when that came out, and we had the ACO multiplex, right up the street. We went 7 times to see it in the movie theater. He was like the perfect age, and we would hit a matinee, and it was something to do. And we're like, all right, let's go watch Spider-Man again and again and again. It was great. Like, so if I was going to rank them,
sure, yeah, well, you can rank your.
That was my Spider-Man story. Yeah, we spent. Zachary was obsessed. It was but it was really cool. I don't know about the.
Who's your favorite Spider-Man?
Tobey Maguire. I like Tobey Maguire because I have I connected to.
Wait, so all three of us like a different Spider-Man?
Well, I connected to that time when Zach was little, so that's it. It has more meaning to it. My absolute favorite Spider-Man though is Into the Spider-Verse. That's probably my favorite Spider-Man movie.
It might be my favorite movie too. Spider-Man 2 is awesome and has the best soundtrack. The Nickelback and you know that song?
Yeah.
And then it has the dashboard. It has dashboard conventionals.
Yeah.
Vindicated, and it has yellow card.
Yellow Card song on that movie is like the most heroic action movie song ever.
Right.
I love that song.
Those three songs went because I could still run in 2004, 2005 when that movie came out. So they would be on my run list. Like again, like that would have to kick it up. Like that Yellow Card song is crazy incredible. Like,
and just to put more like emphasis on it, like to anyone who's listening and hasn't heard it yet, like just that little electric violin part that like. They take their time on it, and it's heroic, and you get the build up, and then the guitar drops. Like easily one of my most favorite songs, like ever. Period.
So, whereas again, like, but it really helps the movie. And again, the movie was great. And so then it was disappointing when 3 came out, and I kept trying last night, and she wasn't paying attention. 3 was on Cartoon Network, and I kept the scene on 3 where Toby like wears a black suit and is dancing down the street, like.
Yeah, Paul. Is there a problem?
3 just made a mistake. They had Toby find the black suit. That could have been the movie itself. Toby going, but then they had to throw in Sandman. They had to throw in, Norman, Harry Osborn as the Green Lantern. And then Venom. Like Venom should be its own movie. They threw Venom in. It's just they forced so much in, and then Sandman turned good at the end. Like it was just a little. It was just too much. So,
forgetting Topher Grace as
watching it last night, like I was like, he was fine as Eddie Brock. Right? It didn't work. It didn't work as Venom though.
Yeah.
So, but and again, the technology too. Like seeing it, I was like, they were going to be so much better when they waited till 2017 for Venom. When did you lose your gallbladder?
2018.
2018 for Venom. So. I do remember I liked the first Andrew Garfield a lot and thought he was a really good Spider-Man.
Quirky. Yeah.
Like he was a good Peter Parker, but then I thought like the way he joked and his delivery on the jokes when he was Spider-Man was pretty good. And then number 2 was just again, it felt like they threw in a little too much. And then the sad ending. But again, they were building towards something, so I was like, all right, if we're gonna see. Because that end credit scene where like you see the vulture wings, you see the lizard, like there was just like, all right. But
I believe that Norman's talking to see, here we go, forgetting names again. The lizard guy, the doctor.
Right, Doc Connors,
yeah. And like somebody I was reading the comments because I'm big on the comments on YouTube, and everybody kept saying like this is the Spider-Man series we didn't get. 2 was rocky, but we were really building up to something. And now you're starting to see the hope they kind of connect the dots in the MCU type stuff. And I wouldn't mind that either. For me, Andrew Garfield, I thought Tobey Maguire was like very cheerful, right? Like even when he was supposed to be a little upset about things, he was still being positive. Andrew Garfield, I felt was a little more like upset when he needed to be, and maybe that's what draws me to him being my favorite Spider-Man. But then Tom Holland is Spider-Man, like voiceover Spider-Man, like the voice, like the character, young Spider-Man, and
he's got the youthfulness.
Yeah, he's got the youthfulness, and I don't know where everybody else is at. I gotta admit, I'm kind of lost with where they're going at this point. I think everybody else is too. I was kind of hoping that. And I'm still hoping that, well, I mean, Richard could speak to this maybe from a comic book standpoint, that Spider-Man would grow into his own and really lead the Avengers to the next next fight, the next war, whatever that may be.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's the main guy if they get the X-Men rights and all that stuff.
Right. Unfortunately, he's never actually been. I mean, he's joined the Avengers from time to time, but he's never been would be the forefront of them. But also, even if they went with that idea, it unfortunately becomes about securing Tom Holland. Like how much money you'd have to throw at Tom Holland, and then when does he hit the point where he's like, I want to do this. I want to do a film where I'm a World War II. You know, like that's the thing. Which you know what, everything about him right now does not scream that he's going to do that. Like he seems like he'll keep doing things, not for the money, but for like because he likes doing them. So hopefully we have him around. But we saw him live in Philly a couple years ago, and he's just so neat. I mean, just so likable. What like a real
charismatic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and again, and then those movies get a little extra from me because they have the Marvel universe. You know, they have the movies in them. You know, there's Iron Man. There's and then I didn't love the last movie, and I really want to chalk it up to like Endgame. I think I called it like Endgame. You know, like just being exhausted. Like we've just gone on this 12-year journey, like to get to Endgame, and now a month later, and then it's like we're exhausted. It was exhausting, and then here's Iron Man. And you're like, okay, it's dealing with Endgame. You know, everyone came back from the blip. It was a neat, like it explained some things, but the Mysterio stuff threw me off.
And it was kind of like, now that you say it, it was like a good standalone movie, but it wasn't connecting any dots. It was like Happy was there
because it didn't answer. Right, it didn't answer.
Nothing going on.
Yeah, and I don't know if they knew. What were you going to say, Shannon?
I was just gonna say about the being favorite Spider-Man. So I think in an Infinity War, when the whole thing happens, that's
if you don't know, anyone listening who doesn't know the end of Infinity War, where everyone turns to dust, then go ahead.
But I think the part where Spider-Man is like,
I don't feel so good, Mr. Stark.
Yeah, I don't feel like that whole part. If that would have been done by Tobey Maguire or what's the other one's name?
Andrew Garfield.
I don't know if it would have felt so. I felt more attached because he felt so much younger.
Yeah,
and when he was talking to him like that, it just was like, oh. But if it was like Tobey Maguire, that would have been saying that. I don't know if I would have been like, if I would have cried a little bit.
It's funny you say that because one of the things that I love about the first Spider-Man in the MCU was that, like, even that whole exchange where he's like, if you really cared, you would be here. And Robert Downey steps down, right? And he, this is the part where you zip it, right? And he's looking out for him the whole time. I thought that whole connection, that whole vibe was like done perfectly. That whole father-son relationship.
Yeah.
And the Michael Keaton as a bad guy was really good because again,
great pick.
He was something that will always be a question that we have to deal with is how Hollywood will change origins to make them seem more real. Like that phenomenal line in the trailer where the kids are like, "Wait, your name's what?" Dr. Otto Octavius. Like, no, really, what's your name? Like Dr. Otto. Right? Because because but again in 1963, Stan Lee gave everyone what's that called? Mnemonic or double letters.
Oh.
Peter Parker, Otto Octavius. Oh, there's like alliteration? No, I don't know. Ignore me.
Isn't it?
I don't know.
Oops, that was my cue.
Yeah, you just hi, Shanna. You just made me think about, just again, circling back how great Enter the Spider-Verse is because there's that little line where he's like, what did you say your name was again?
Right.
He's like, and then you just see the Doc Ock arms come out. But where are you at with all of the multiverse stuff that's going on in Spider-Man? Like, as I wanted to ask you that, like, Enter the Spider-Verse. There's like 17 different Spider-Men in there, 17 different types of villains. We got more coming this way. Like, does Spidey need a break? Like, I think that's where I'm having trouble. Like, I hope all this makes sense in the next month or so.
Right, and that's on December 18th. That's when we'll have a definitive answer if it makes sense. Because we've talked about this with our Robert Pattinson Batman coming up. That all right, this is going to be its own universe. So if Affleck wants to come back in some way, it's not contingent on Pattinson.
Right.
And then when you're talking, it's like, wow, like we really have the ability with the multiverse to like actually have the Andrew Garfield finish his trilogy if we wanted to. If we felt like you could make a story, and that's the thing. It could be Tom Holland appearing for like 20 minutes in the movie just to like, and then you could fit, you could do Tobey Maguire as the 40-year-old Spider-Man, who is depressed and and struggling, and you could do, you could have the live action Into the Spider-Verse, like, because that's the the older Spider-Man is Tobey Maguire.
Is he that old now?
He's got to be, yeah.
Oh
yeah,
man,
absolutely.
time flies. Oh man, time flies. And he just like looks young.
No, he looks young. And Andrew Garfield still looks young. When he's getting his Oscar because he's going to get double nominated because he's playing Jim Baker in the Tammy Faye and Jim Baker story, where he's phenomenal in that, and then he's playing Jonathan Larson in Tick Tick Boom. So
he's already nominated, right, for Social Network. Like, he's an incredibly talented actor.
I'm not sure what he was. I don't know if he was nominated for something.
I
don't know. Was he in Social Network? I don't know. Or is that Jesse Eisenberg?
No, it was both of them.
Oh,
they were. He played the counterpart, the second guy, that funded. Facebook off the ground, and they had a falling out. He was the guy that was suing Zuckerberg for some sort of income because he helped fund it through his parents' money or something like that in the beginning. But yeah, so I mean, I'm excited. It's just a lot going on with Spider-Man, and as we were getting ready for this week, I kind of was like, these are some points that people know already, but overall, I'm pretty excited about everything that's going on. Still, just wish that the Sinister Six had come full circle. I mean, are we going to see Giamatti? I didn't see his name in the credits. I saw some familiar names in the credits.
I think if I can count on my fingers here, Doc Ock. It was clearly Sandman.
Yeah.
Electro, Green Goblin. And then I'm pretty sure Keaton's confirmed he's Vulture.
Oh,
so
this is going to be this might be a bad question. People might be like, what kind of fan are you? Who's Keaton talking to at the end of the first film in the post credits? Do you remember that?
Scorpion.
And Scorpion, we didn't see him, right? In this
correct.
trailer?
We didn't see Scorpion, yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot he was out there.
Yeah.
And this is something that Marvel movies do a little bit of, is if you have Scorpion in there, like, he's just going to be there, and then you will get a throwaway line from somebody like, I can't believe that, he's even happy looking at a computer going, oh, this is Matt Gregg, and he spent $1 million to get a scorpion tail grafted to his body. Like, whereas the other Spider-Man movies gave you that full origin story of like a bad guy. And it's not, that's the thing. It's not always necessary. Like, Jamie Foxx spending 45 minutes as like a bumbling scientist, like underappreciated scientist rather, to then turn it, like, it was like, all right, like, you could do something where you just have the villain. Like, they had the Rhino come in, and then, they didn't spend hours on his backstory. They just gave him something. So you could do that. You could have something, but, yeah, again, I think my mind is going to just like, do you have Venom show up? Do you have these huge things?
Can you? I haven't. Can you connect Venom?
He can.
They can, right?
So I have not seen Venom, but I have seen the after credit scene, which connects him to the Spider-Verse.
Okay.
So yeah, the end credit scene with Venom is they're watching TV, and the scene where Spider-Man's revealed to be Peter Parker is showing on the TV, and Venom's like, we must go to him or something, like, I want to. So
there's just a lot going on, and so
there's a lot going on, and yeah.
So here's something I wanted to ask you, and I was talking to Grayson briefly about this before we got on here, and it will all tie in, hopefully. I asked if you wanted to jump on because you were just having a chat about Marvel and Spider-Man and this and that. I'm just going to say it, okay? Nobody get upset with me or murder me or cancel us or anything like that. Really feel like this phase of Marvel is off to a rocky start, right? And that's one of the reasons I'm a little nervous about all the stuff. Like, there's a lot of stuff going on with Spider-Man, as we keep saying. Shang-Chi, didn't hate it, thought it was enjoyable, right? We're getting to season 2 of Loki, and there's multiverse stuff going on, and Doctor Strange is in this movie. Eternals was kind of like, I don't know. Have you seen Eternals yet? Have you seen any of the dots and how we'll connect them?
No.
So what's your thoughts on? I mean, I know we talked about this a little bit, how they're pushing all the dates back, but from what you've seen and what we see on Disney Plus, where are you at with Marvel right now? To me, it just feels like it's not very cohesive at the moment. I think there's some work to be done. Obviously, they always kind of reveal what's going on eventually, but I can't even connect the dots right this second. Where are you at?
Yeah, no, and I'm not feeling that, but that's me also sitting here with a comic book business, so that I have a sense, I know where they can go, and it doesn't seem like a big gloop to me, but I can see, to an amateur like you,
yeah,
like
no, that's fine.
a sit on your couch. Sorry, I was trying to think. I was trying to insult you even harder than
you
amateur.
sit there and you judge us without having read the comic books.
Right. I mean, clearly you've established but that's, and again, and I'm so far below some of like the real comic book fans, and they, so again, seeing this, like, and that's why I think I'm actually like kind of right in the middle, where I know enough, but I don't know too much, where I'm sitting there going, oh, you ruined that classic Eternal story, or, oh, you can't have these two people join, and that's the thing for me. Like, I knew, and again, in some ways, like the curse is, like, I knew so much about Wanda and Vision that I was like, oh, there's 8,000 stories, and it ruined it a little bit for me, because I was like, well, no, it was its own story. And I think that's my long-winded answer to your question of like, it's going to get there. And, like we always say, like, Shang-Chi was really enjoyable. It was really good. It had Wong come in and establish their link. And then, Eternals, again, I'm hearing a ton about Eternals, which is they introduced 10 characters. Like they took the time to introduce these characters, and could they have just gotten away with 6, or done the thing of, hey, there's 10 of us, that's the whole team, and that's what we're going to need to beat the bad guy at the end. But maybe you just gave a quick, but people who love that they took the time and are happy with the results. So, yeah, we will see again. And, it's good to see someone who's not just like, you're not just kissing up to Marvel.
Yeah, no. And I was just about to ask you that, somebody like myself who has followed the movies, likes comic books too, like I say, loves comic books, loves comic characters, but like we always say, I'm not a comic book fan like you. And like you said, there's people who are at a whole other level where they can just like, narrow down everything. All right. So picture, you're talking to me, you're talking to some other people who were able to join the MCU, connect the dots, enjoy the movies. What would you say to them if they're feeling like myself, kind of like, whoa, I'm kind of just lost with everything that's going on right now? There's lots of stuff on Disney Plus, lots of movies. We got multiverses. I kind of just don't know what to do with all of it.
You know what I would say? I would say, I'm trying to think what Mary-Kate and Ashley would say. Chill out, dude. What do they say? Like, no, what I would say is take a breath. If you don't see Eternals, don't stress out. If you don't see Shang-Chi, don't stress out. If you don't see Hawkeye starting this Wednesday, if you don't, because what that original run showed is, oh, I didn't see Thor. I didn't watch all the Captain Americas, but at a certain point, I didn't watch Guardians of the Galaxy, but they did an okay job once they threw them all together. And, like once, there's, because people will say all the time, I got to watch everything. And I was like, you don't have to watch everything. I can give it to you. I can give you a list that cuts out, like, you don't need to watch Thor 2, and you don't need to watch.
Yeah, you don't need to do that.
Honestly, you don't need to watch the first Captain America. Like,
no, you don't.
If there was a way to just show people, like, and again, even like some of the end credit scenes, like, yeah, spoilers. The end of the first Captain America is Captain America waking up in the present time and being a little disoriented. Like, all right, I would just say, hey, so I think that's the same thing here. Like, Shang-Chi was really, really enjoyable, but you don't if you see him 3 years from now in another movie, you don't need to know his entire story. You just need to, if someone just says, oh, he's really great at martial arts and he controls the 10 rings, like, okay, so again, I know there's people who watched Infinity War and didn't watch Captain Marvel, didn't watch Guardians. So yeah, that's kind of my thing is I think they'll get you there, and I think they'll build to this big moment with some different characters, we'll see. We're going to have a new Black Panther, so I don't know if Shuri's stance on vaccines is going to cost her
I saw that
the mantle. So
and people are injured and
this is a it's a discussion for another show. The idea of but like that's the thing. If they can't film with her because of so. Yeah, for the first time the other day, I saw a rumor of they would put it on. I want to call him Duke. That's not his name. He's playing the guy. He's playing Batman. He plays
the voice
Mbuku. Yeah, he's playing the voice of Batman. Mbuku. So for the first time, they're saying that maybe he would be it.
He'll take the throne.
Yeah.
Take the throne.
And again, I'm going to remember his name without any Winston Duke. I knew his name was Winston.
You
Duke.
had it.
Yeah,
you had it.
But then I was like, wait, no, he's not playing Thomas Duke. You're horrible. You're horrible at this. So as always, I will tell you, just because I did the work. It's funny because you talked up Spider-Man 1, and I found myself surprised that Spider-Man 1 made the most money of any of the Spider-Man films. I just thought that all right, the Tom Holland ones with inflation or something would catch up, but the two Garfield ones made the least, and by least $262,000, if you want to call that, $200 million. Those are, and the two Tom Hollands made, 300 million, 400 million. But No Way Home, I think it'll be the number one movie this year, with it only being out for 2 weeks. I think it will somehow make more money than anyone's made in that 2 weeks, and it will show us our first numbers that look like before COVID numbers.
Yeah,
I think it has that hype now. Or I'll sit here, and if we do our December 27th show and we kind of do our year and recap, and I'll be like, yep, nope, it didn't.
The box office numbers are still the same.
Yeah, right. Yeah, nope. Yeah, no. I guess nobody went out at Christmas like I thought they would. So
week 1, $800 million. Week 2, $5.3 million.
Right.
Just a huge drop off.
Yep.
As we head out, Shannon made me think about something, and I'm part of that generation, not as young as Zach, but you kind of, somebody might ask themselves if they don't know Spider-Man, like, well, why was Spider-Man one of the bigger films? X-Men, Wolverine's a badass, some of those films like that. I mean, we had the cartoon on Saturday morning. Yep. Great intro. We had the Nintendo 64 games. He's agile. He's cool. He rides alone. He's mysterious. He's got a good story. I think there's just some serious nostalgia strings attached to Spider-Man, even for myself. Yeah, go ahead.
And he was, again, Deadpool gets this huge rep, but Spider-Man was the PG Deadpool. He was the rated G Deadpool. He was nonstop jokes. So he was likable. His story was always so relatable. Minus the whole getting bit by a spider part, but the part of and that's what's always been a hallmark. Not so much in the Tom Holland ones because they involve Iron Man, and I like how we're seeing a younger Tom. But again, right in Spider-Man and Andrew Garfield's ones, you're trying to pay bills, you're trying to, and that, you got to help. Your aunt's going to get evicted. That was every
interview,
right? So yeah. So again, it was just okay, yeah, no, I've been that. I've needed money before, and I have to make a decision between stopping a bad guy and then going to my job, or I'm not gonna be able to pay for his pizzas, and he's a pizza delivery guy, So
I have a rich best friend that has the girl I want to date.
Yeah, right, exactly. There's a lot with all the struggles, yeah. So love it. I really hope that we do see multiple Spider-Mans in the Spider-Man, and then maybe even get if I'm not asking for too much, maybe we even see Miles Morales. So I don't know, or Miles Morales from another universe. That's the thing. This movie could totally bring in cartoon Miles Morales and have him there as a cartoon.
Pull it off.
Even if just he blinks in for a second and they're like, "Whoa, which Spider-Man are you?" And then he blinks back. But again, I think I'm asking for too much. I think
you might not be, because I was just thinking the second you said that, it doesn't have to be a car. He could be like a little CGI, just you know who that is. He doesn't take his mask off and he goes back out. You know
right?
What I mean?
Yeah, no, right. And again, and maybe it's it's too many Easter eggs I'm looking for. But the other thing that just popped in my head as we close this up, and another great half-hour show, the like, Doctor Strange is coming out in May. Like, there's got to be some link to Doctor Strange. So now I'm adding another level of expectations. Like, are we seeing Wanda? Are we seeing, something? So
we got to get John Anthony to talk to you about negative and positive fantasy.
Yeah, right.
So you don't get too far ahead of yourself.
That's what again. And honestly, I go into so many things like, it's going to be what it is, like there's good to it, and that's why I was really thrown off last week when I was I wasn't disappointed. I loved that preview, but I was like, oh, I feel disappointed because I didn't get, so looking forward to it. It's, I guess, about a month away. So got to get through a lot more.
It's about a month away. It's been a wild ride for this character between, like we said, rights and just various films. And it looks like it's all going to come together. And everybody's going to come together to pave the way for the next chapter. But like Richard said, looking forward to this next film. The next trailer left everybody with a lot of questions, and I think everybody's really looking forward to the next film. So here we go. Spider-Man comes out, but I'm messing this up. Tickets go on sale this November 29th. Gets released December 19th, right?
17th. Yep.
17th, we're getting it. So I'm sure we'll be there, and then we'll recap and see what happened and what didn't.
Awesome. All right. Thanks, sir. Thanks for having
me
everybody.
On today. Thanks, everybody. This is another great half an hour show. We'll see you all when we see you. Bye.